I was like, you know what? Sorry.
Liza.
And so here we are at the Dublin Lake Club with the Colliers.
Grandparent under
And
my parent.
her name?
Holly and Peggy. Holly. Oh, Liza.
Liza.
Holly and Peggy. And I've forgotten Holly's name.
Oh, Holly.
Holly Collier.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to ask Ben to do and Whit to do is describe their understanding of the mind once more for the video. What you just said.
So, Charlie, my understanding of the mind and its connection to the body is that there's many wizards of Oz up here that are connecting and coordinating and communicating with the body. Right now, Liza's mind is saying, "I want food, so I'm going to flail." Yeah. Oh. And but she's okay.
Well, anyway.
It's a visual. It's the Wizard of Oz times infinity. Lots of wizards up top.
And if you were to draw a picture of your mind that you use, what would it look like?
I think it would be a deep forest network ecosystem. The network being the key word, but everything's interconnected and synced. And dimensional, three-dimensional. Not
A three-dimensional network.
Oh yeah.
Why would it be three-dimensional? What would the advantage of that be?
I don't know if it's an advantage, but I just imagine that it's not as simple as little linear line connections.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Are you asking about the mind or the brain?
Very specifically asking about the mind as in conjunction with the brain and the body, but I'm focusing on what is the mind. What are your thoughts about the mind?
Well, my thought is the mind is something above, kind of almost ephemeral, an energy that's there. And the brain is something that is physical that you use to help you eat and operate in the world. The mind is something a little bit higher than that. It's almost the ghost in the machine.
Yeah.
Something that we can't put our finger on, but we always know is there. It's that, I think for me, it's easier to describe it as a feeling.
As a what?
A feeling.
A feeling.
A sense of home.
Mm-hmm.
A sense of being. A sense of peace. So you can tap into your mind at the beautiful Dublin Lake Club very easily.
And here's the beautiful Dublin Lake Club with Holly Collier coming, and there's Whit Collier, and little people and playing tennis.
So Charlie, you're asking very interesting questions. Are you doing a study or collecting information, or just getting people's opinions on what they think of as their brain or their mind or consciousness, or?
You don't want this?
Well, here, you videotape me and I'll tell you the answer to that question.
All right.
It's already on.
Okay.
So the question was very well put, and the comments by Ben too. I've been working on a lifelong pursuit to understand the relationship of humanity to creativity to technology. And I studied humanity at Harvard, mostly English lit and some economics. Then I got off to the artillery school at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I got introduced to technology with the Bendix G15 computer and was an artillery gunnery instructor. Then I came back to Harvard, worked as a research assistant for B.F. Skinner, and we focused on creativity and how operant conditioning could be applied to the behavior of the body. At that point, the mind was a four-letter word for Skinner, and the brain, he said, the physiologists aren't at a point where we can find out what's going on in the brain. So let's just stick to the behavior of the body, a sort of a one-dimensional stimulus response reinforcement. I went on to get my doctorate under a cognitive psychologist, and there they talked about things like ideational scaffolding and the discovery method, and lots of things that made sense to me, but were sort of the juxtaposition between behavioral science of the body and behavioral science of the mind had different lingo, different three-letter acronyms. And even though I saw some relationship between the two, people would rather use their academic opponent's toothbrush than use their three-letter acronyms. So in 1983, actually in 1981, I got a picture of my mind based metaphorically on the brain. It was a two-dimensional model by Ned Herman, who had been enlisted by General Electric to bring back more Thomas Edisons. And his look at the mind, I now see very clearly as a two-dimensional look of the right brain with Roger Sperry, the limbic cerebral system with Paul MacLean, and he created a matrix and determined the relative preferences in each for the four quadrants. Upper left A, lower left B, lower right C, upper right D. It turned out that the picture of my relative thinking preferences in that model gave me the first picture of who the hell I was. Oh, that's who I am. I am terminally upper right brained and fatally lower left avoidance in my preferences. So I worked for many years. I founded the Whole Brain Corporation in 1983 with Ned Herman. I taught at Harvard Business School of creativity and entrepreneurship and organization. I was invited to go to Singapore for over a 3-year period to change the culture of Singapore by introducing the whole brain model to fix Singapore. Singapore is doing pretty well these days. I then applied that creative process trying to figure out how to map a third dimension of the creative process to the humanity, left and right brain, and the technology and knowledge, upper and lower. And more recently, I've been focusing on the scientific functional analysis of the structure, function, network, and connections of the whole behavior of the whole brain, mind, and body. The genomic legacy of the brain and the body, if you go back 20,000 years to the age of paleo and the nomads and the hunter-gatherers and the cavemen, there the brain and the body are relatively unchanged in the last 20,000 years. The mind has changed as we know more, but the technology that our creativity has created the iPhone that you're taking this picture with. By 2020, according to Ray Kurzweil, will be the time of the singularity, when the power of the chip on the iPhone, the A9 chip, will be in its progeny, will be equal to the 100 billion neurons in the brain of a human. Wow. They're planning not to even upgrade the chip to the brain of the iPhone much more for the next few years until they, because all the power is now coming in the operating system. I've got the iOS 9.4 point something, and the operating system is the internetwork operating system, so that we have reversed engineered humanity to create our technology. So a robot is like a human being, and nanotechnology does things that with tools. Now the challenge for me, and what I'm focusing on, is a 3D representation of the mind that will be interoperable with the technology and software of the computer. And I've envisioned this as a three-dimensional cube where the y-axis, left to right, is is about humanity and the left brain, right brain. It's categorizing from one to all. Technology is the z-axis, from the single concept up to the competencies, the curriculum, the catalog, and the entire library of what's in the mind. So the left and right axis lets you understand yourself and other people, how you're different, how you're better, how you can collaborate, how you can form teams, how you can take advantage and value differences, as opposed to they believe something different than I do, they're bad. As opposed to they're different from me, there are real opportunities in our collaboration. In being able to understand from the single concept all the way to a library, you have an organizing system to deliberately put stuff in your mind that is a counterpart to the technology, so that you can take what you have in your mind, put it in your iPhone, but also take your iPhone to put it in your mind. We can use this conceptual framework, which I call Charlie's Conceptual Cube. It's a CCC as opposed to the WWW, the World Wide Web. And it becomes an addressable system for the human mind. It means that we will reverse engineer the technology that we've created so that we are compatible and interoperable with these monsters, and no longer treat them as monsters, but put them on a leash so that we can handle them. And to do that, I'm continuing research. I founded the Whole Brain Foundation. Got 501c3 status last week and got it all organized. I've got the technology support from Salesforce.com and Salesforce.org, which has been approved, and from Microsoft TechSoup, and we're going on to use this to raise money, the $100,000 for the fall. I'm working on the book that will tell the story of this invention. Then comes the website, which will enable the putting a blog on the web and make it available to everyone in the world, and then create the product.
Peggy,
Then create the product.
in an hour, and I'd love to just spend some time with my sister-in-law.
I got 1 minute left. Let me finish.
Okay.
I'm creating a product which includes the design of the cube, which is becoming a whole village that can show the mind as a village, a curriculum to share with the whole world, a platform to change the technology of the world, and finally going after project proposals with the MacArthur Foundation for $100 million, Laurene Powell Jobs to fix American schools, the Singularity University, and the X Prize. There are many, many opportunities to change the world in every way, and we're doing it here with a new idea